Okay, so here's similarity number two of how the slave South, the slave plantation of slavery days, is exactly the same, perfectly identical to today's Democrat governing system. See, on the slave plantation, the slave master always ensured he provided housing and food for the slaves. Now, there are multiple strategic reasons why the slave master would want to provide housing and food for the slaves. One, of course, is to provide dependency, just enough so the slave don't want to run away or has no incentive to rebel, but also create a environment to be institutionalized as a slave to get the maximum productivity and maximum participation in whatever the activities were needed to add to the wealth and influence of the slave master. Those activities back then were, picking cotton, picking other different crops, and whatever services they provided. Whatever services they always were to add wealth and to add influence to the slave master. Also, the slave master, which you had what you call slave quarters, which is a little community where he built all the shacks for the slaves in a little community, which was not in the most desirable part of the plantation. It wasn't the place that was aesthetically pleasing to the eye. It wasn't a place where you can go and take a walk and park at night, anything like that. But now you fast forward to today. Today's Democrat governing system is very, very, very keen on pushing housing, providing housing and food, of course, for blacks. And I don't think anyone would agree that the slave masters provided housing and food for the slaves because they cared so much for the slaves or they had such a big heart and compassion for slaves. And so I don't think anybody will agree to that. So, but they're doing the exact same thing today, but they just pretty much just changed the narrative around. And also these subsidized housing from the government and providing housing food is never in the best part of town. It's never inside the part that's aesthetically pleasing to the eye. Usually it's inside the parts of town that are have the airports, airplanes flying past, or you have a refinery, you breathe the air anywhere and you get cancer, those parts of the town. And if those parts of town ever did become desirable, then you did what you call gentrification, to move the blacks to a different location. So this was just one reason, but there are multiple strategic reasons why the slave master wanted to provide housing and food. The next important reason was the purpose he had in mind for the male. You see, when the slave master was the provider of the food in the shelter, now it was the wife or the woman, a child, were now dependent on the slave master and not the head of the house or the man of the house. And so that took away the natural purpose of a man to be the protector and the provider for his house, and it created an environment of disrespect, of disdain, and disloyalty and distrust within the household, and it created division in the household to where now the woman had lacked respect now for the man and have more loyalty to the slave master. That way now the slave master has influence over the household. When he has influence over the household, he has influence over the next generation. And so that if that woman's trust is more so inside the slave master, then the slave master is usually able to form that child. And of course, develop that child. Usually, you fast forward that today, the government usually conforms that child and conforms that child through the public school system and these other different types of system that they use to demoralize the man. Also, in times past in history, whenever an army or whenever a group of people destroyed another group of people, they always killed the man and they kept the woman and the children for that very same purpose. Women are natural nurturers. They can nurture anything. They can nurture an idea. If they are loyal to it, they can make anything grow. They can push forward agendas and do all kinds of of things other than just raising the next generation. And this is why we have to be very careful with the Democratic Party and our women, because when they take the men out of the household, then now and build a trust with the woman. That's why you see a lot of what they call women empowerment and things. Well, a lot of times they're using this, using women to spark the major changes that they want to see, major initiatives that they want to happen inside the Black community. So there are multiple strategic reasons why the government wants to pay for housing and food and for the basic needs. And it goes much deeper and much broader than just dependency. It goes to invading the households and also to creating the next generation of slaves. And so now on the next video, video number 3, we're going to go more in depth into the purpose that the government has for the men. And not just the men. I'm going to hit on a little bit on the purpose that he has for the women. And that will be the next video. So please watch that one. And there you have it. The second similarity. On to number 3.